We already know that Gameloft is the king of mobile game ripoffs, but Gameloft also got the title of being the king of mobile games in the Java era or the early era of mobile touchscreens. Games from Gameloft at the time were still much better than Gameloft games today, because Gameloft itself really prioritized the quality of the game itself, which makes the game resemble the quality of console game. Even they really reject the advertising system in their game in that era. But why is it that in the current era, Gameloft is completely different from Gameloft that we know back in the day? We should go back to the beginning when Gameloft was first formed in 1999, founded by one of the founders of Ubisoft named Michel Guillemot. Someone who has experience in managing console and PC games is now jumping into mobile because he knows that the potential for mobile games will be even crazier in the future. And this is slowly building this game company into one of the best mobile game creators of its time and becoming the best premium game developer on mobile, with a quality that almost matches the quality of console games. Also, it has created a lot of game series which can be said to be all considered successful, such as the Modern Combat series, Asphalt series, Dungeon Hunter series, Nova series, and even a football game called The Real Football, and many other games. Gameloft became the most appropriate developer to give trust to port console games to mobile. And of course, because the founder of Gameloft was also the founder of Ubisoft, many of his games have made their way to mobile as well, such as the Prince of Persia series, Assassin's Creed series, and the Splinter Cell series. There's no need to ask about the quality of the games, which is why Gameloft is becoming increasingly popular in the world of mobile games at the time. But not only that, Gameloft also gave birth to lots of game adaptations of films, such as King Kong, Monster University, Adventure of Tintin, also various superhero games whether from DC such as The Dark Knight Rises, which is an exclusive game on mobile, also from Marvel, which there are even many more games like Avenger, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Thor. So, Gameloft has tried almost all the games genre, and most of them have been successful in its time. Even though when the game was released, many people say that Gameloft is labeled as a developer who copies console games, because most of the games are the same as console. Games like Modern Combat is similar to Call of Duty, Nova is similar to Halo, Shadow Guardian is similar to Uncharted, and Gangstar series similar to GTA. But we couldn't say that Gameloft are complete imitators of console games, because their games are different and are always made very well and neatly when released, and this is actually their characteristic. This is what makes Gameloft a place for console-class mobile games. And with all of these things, makes us think that Gameloft seems to be fine. But it turns out everything started to change, precisely in 2016 onward. The transition year to 2015 can be said that a lot of mobile games at the time had implemented free games but with some advertisement here and there, and much more in-game purchase or microtransactions. Although it wasn't as bad as now, at the time Gameloft was still being idealistic and they didn't want to include advertisement in their games because they believed that selling premium games could still be profitable. And this made them slowly move away from their throne as the king of mobile games. In terms of game sales, it also saw a massive decrease because the move of the concept makes players want to play more games for free rather than premium games. And the choice at the time was between going completely bankrupt or being acquired by Vivendi. Now, Vivendi is a company in which inside them there are several mixed or branch companies, whether it's a news media platform, a game developer, and many more. Before Gameloft was acquired by Vivendi, Activision was one of the games company who had a contract with Vivendi, even though they finally broke free from Vivendi in 2013 and made it their own independent company. Thanks to the fact that there are no longer any game companies in Vivendi, that's why they look at Gameloft, which at the time was also experiencing a financial crisis in 2015 to 2016. And as a result, Vivendi succeeded in acquiring Gameloft, which made the CEO of Gameloft decide to leave at the same time. And finally, Vivendi had full control of Gameloft, and this is where the games from Gameloft started supporting advertising in their game. Even from the start, Gameloft games were all premium. Now, it's all free to play. This sacrifices the quality of some of the games. For example, Modern Combat 5 was a game that the fans were waiting for. Fans thought the quality was even crazier than Modern Combat 4, but what happened was completely different from what was expected. Modern Combat 5 became the worst game Gameloft ever released, with so many microtransactions and ads in the game. Gangster New Orleans also got massive backlash. Gangster Vegas is still considered a good game because the graphics are great, even though most of the content in it has to be purchased. But Gangster New Orleans really got a complete downgrade. Just like Asphalt Nitro and many other games, the graphics and gameplay increasingly became worse. And top of all that, they added much more microtransactions. But in 2018, Gameloft changed it again, and with the new concept, it started to revive Gameloft again, even though it has not been able to occupy its throne anymore as the leader of mobile games in the current era. In that year, Gameloft released Asphalt 9, but not only it was released on mobile, it also released on PC. Even a few years later, it was also released on consoles such as Nintendo Switch and Xbox. This is the concept that Gameloft is trying to implement by releasing multi-platform games and also implementing the system over like a season pass. And this actually makes Gameloft survive in the current era and their next games that implement this same concept, such as the Oregon Trail and Disney Speedstorm, which this time Gameloft prioritizing PC and console over mobile. But not only that, because their finances are increasingly better every year, they start to return to creating their old IP series, such as the latest Gangstar series that they called Gangstar New York, which has entered the alpha stage with graphic improvements that are quite far from Gangster Vegas or New Orleans. Although at the moment there is news that it will be released on PC first, it is still not clear when it will be released on mobile. Not only that, Gameloft also released a game that hasn't had a sequel yet for so long, called Dungeon Hunter 6. With all this, it proved that Gameloft is trying to get back up by releasing their old IP series. Although this time most of the games are not just focusing on mobile games, but on various platforms, whether on PC or console. With our discussion this time, it can be concluded that of course there is a time to be successful and there is a time when we are definitely down too. And this is what happens with Gameloft nowadays. Indeed, we know that Gameloft is an expert in premium games in the class of AAA games on mobile. But it turns out that the game sale system like that is not compatible with the current game sale system, where everything is free but the content is all advertising and all pay to win. This is something that has never been done by Gameloft in the previous era. They were forced to go back a long way on this matter and almost went bankrupt. And thanks to Vivendi, it actually saved them from their decline. Of course, we can no longer expect any more premium games from Gameloft because times are different. But will free-to-play game in the future be able to raise the name of Gameloft again? And finally, in your opinion, what Gameloft game series do you hope will have a continuation in the current era of mobile games, apart from Gangster New York or Dungeon Hunter 6? So, thank you for watching. Subscribe.